Good morning. Good morning. I am first thankful for you to have me here. The work that Sana and Clint is doing through their organization and also through Medshare speaks volumes to the work that we've all come together to do today for putting our faith into action. So again, I want to start off by just honoring their work and what they're doing here, and just if we can give them another round of applause for what they're doing. And also, I see some staff in the back from this position. If the staff can just say hello and wave your hands. I know they'll be giving us some instructions soon. But I have a few notes that I just want to share. But it's just really good to look around here and see friends. It's good to see and hear about the organizations and the colleges and the universities and all those who we hear about, but to actually physically see you here, to know that you did decide to wake up this morning and not spend your morning in bed, to be here, to put your faith in action, that's a powerful statement. Not too many people would do that at any age, but specifically at the ages in which we're in high school and college and just starting off in life. So there's a quote that I like, and it simply says, "How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together in unity." And we're thankful for allowing Medshare to come and allow for us to dwell together in unity. And I just have a couple things that I would ask for you to kind of join in and repeat with me. It says, "We have come to wake up."
We have come to wake up.
Well, let's wake up. We have come to wake up.
We have come to wake up.
To dwell together in unity.
To dwell together in unity.
We have come to wake up.
We have come to wake up.
To serve together in unity.
To serve together in unity.
We have come to wake up.
We have come to wake up.
To grow together in unity.
To grow together in unity.
On this day.
On this day.
Well, this is what I started. No, seriously. On this day.
On this day.
All over our nation.
All over our nation.
And our globe.
And our globe.
We have come to honor Dr. King.
We have come to honor Dr. King.
And now I'll start. On this day, we have come to honor Dr. King. And that's an important thing, because that means that we've made a conscious choice to be here. We did not have to be here. And because of the work of Dr. King and others, it allows for us to be here, and it does allow for us to dwell together in unity. It allows for us to come together across race, class, culture, and what some may even call the last frontier, faith. These differences, these barriers that have kept us apart way too long. This is a day of service. This is a day of growth. This is a day of maturity. This is a day of freedom. This is a day of justice. This is a day of hope. When I think of this day, I think of morning by morning, new mercies I see. When we choose to wake up, we start seeing the world around us. This is the day that we are inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. And he also challenged us not just to dream, but to remain awake. In his last Sunday sermon, he challenged us in remaining awake through what's called a great revolution. And from 1963 until he took his last breath in 1968, Dr. King did more than just dream. As he marched, as he advocated, and as he demonstrated by putting his faith into direct action. He lived, he embodied, he realized, and he worked every day to awaken us all. And not only us, but to awaken our entire world. And he awakened us to the fact that we need to connect with our divinely interconnected human spirits to come together. He also mentioned that we need to develop these new attitudes, the new mental responses that this new situation demands. This was part of his message in 1968 on March 31st in Washington, D.C. On that day, he prophetically identified 3 revolutions that were taking place. He called it the Triple Revolution. He included technology, weaponry, and human rights. A quote from Dr. King says, "We are challenged to develop a world perspective. No individual can live alone. No nation can live alone. And anyone who feels that he or she can live alone is sleeping through a revolution. The world in which we live is geographically one." And I'll add that over the years, with globalization and international development work, we are in many ways politically, culturally, socially, and economically now one. In that, Dr. King laid out a challenge to us. He challenged us that we face today, and the challenge that we face today is to make this one in terms of brotherhood. He said through our scientific and technological genius that we have made this world a neighborhood, and yet we have not had the ethical commitment to make of it a brotherhood. So he challenged us and he invited us that we must all learn how to live together as brothers and sisters. Dr. King is speaking to us in this room today. As we gather in this generation of 2012, there's a lot of work to be done this year. And it requires all of us to be awake and to be alive and allow for the Spirit to flow through us at this very moment. Dr. King's legacy continues to live through speeches, through videos, through his writings. And it lives in the lives of those who embrace the work that he did and are striving like we are to continue to build on the civil rights and the human rights foundation. This is how we go about creating what he described, as we all know, as his beloved community. A beloved community that sits in the midst of a suffering and violent world. In the midst of this suffering and violent world, Dr. King and others demonstrated that there is love, that there is hope, that there is freedom, that there is peace, that there is justice. And those things that people strive for, I profess and I believe in those things, that there is hope, that there is freedom, that there is love, and that there is justice. I believe personally in humanity and the good that we've come together to serve, that we do come together to serve the common good. I believe that we must all work towards realizing a world in which our lives and in our generation will come to act on the willingness of what justice will look like. We have to all remember that we do have the power within. We do have the peace within. And that what we will not do is leave our lives to hang in the balance of extreme religious, political, and financial actors in our world. It's our faith that requires us to give more. It's our faith that is requiring us to be more. And in this world, I believe that it is possible, and yes, it is through our communication and through the use of technology that we are able to come together closer around the world, to be able to transcend areas of time and areas of space. And in doing so, we redeem time and we redeem space by choosing to use the space in our hearts and our minds and our spirits to be able to connect closer with one another. This type of life requires maturity. Do not let anyone discount who you are because of your age or perceived youth. Youth are mature. Youth are mature. The decisions that we make. Yes, we're growing. Yes, we're learning. But your decision to be here today was one made out of maturity. And in that, it changes the way we look at other people. We begin to look at people as what they have, which is the best, their assets. And we live out of that perspective and not looking at what's the worst out of people or their liabilities, or how they would contribute to something that we may not want to participate in. The more I study Dr. King and his life, the more I'm encouraged to see how God has worked through individuals and allowed for God to be a part of humanity and allow for us to be used as his creations and God's creations. I won't go into a couple things, but I do just want to highlight what that allows for us to do here in this room today. Dr. King spoke to many issues in his day. He spoke to the issues of the Vietnam War. He spoke to people who were coming out of war and coming back into the United States, which allowed for issues of race to be at the forefront. But in our world, we live in a post-9/11 world. This means something. In our world, we live in a post-Iraq, post-Afghanistan conflict world. That means something. That means that we're living in the present, and that everyone in this room has the responsibility to create the type of future that we desire. And it's only going to work if we choose to reach out beyond ourselves and be able to connect again through hearts, minds, and spirits with people that may or may not think or believe the way that we do, but we can connect again with the common good and the things that can connect our hearts, minds, and spirits. So I want to just close with a quote by one of Dr. King's contemporaries, which was U.S. Senator Robert F. Kennedy. And he was addressing a group of students, not unlike yourselves, in 1966 in a speech he calls the Day of Affirmation speech. He was addressing a group of students who were the National Union of South African Students. And he shared that this world demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of the imagination, a predominance of courage over timidity, of the appetite for the adventure over the love of ease. And it is a revolutionary world that we live in. And thus, as he said, in Latin America, Asia, Europe, and the United States, it is young people who must take the lead. So I just invite you and ask you that we choose this day, that we will go forward in service to our fellow brothers and sisters in humanity, and that we will go forward in choosing to develop our world, the type of world that we desire: love, peace, and understanding. So at this time, I just say thank you. And I also would like for us to, if we can, just spread out a little bit. We want to invite Sana and Clint to come forward, and a couple other friends, Imam, Mansour. And what we want to do is, as we close and go into the next area of our service today, we just want to close in offering interfaith prayers to acknowledge this occasion. So again, I thank you, and God bless.